it's time to take a return to Facts Are Your Friends. Let's do it. We got is that the new graphic? Look at that new graphic. It looks fantastic, man.
I know, it looks awesome.
Yeah. If you're listening to this on podcast, some rad new graphics are behind me. It's awesome. Hey, and for everybody reaching out, this comes out, several weeks after we record it, but we changed the podcast feed photo to more like an old punk rock cover. And man, everybody's reached out. I'm so grateful. Everybody's super positive about it. I love it. I love it. It's finally feeling like more like home, more like me. So that's fantastic. All right. So today we are talking about this. This occurred to me about 10 years ago. I was working at university. And my students were coming in. And this is when 10 to 15 years ago is when a shift began to happen inside my dean of students office. My Res Life offices, when I was sitting with these students who were really struggling, and so many of the struggles came down to financial struggles. Like at the end of the day, I've got ADHD, I've got depression, I've got this, I've got anxiety, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with this. And it would always distill down to, we can't afford to be here. And I realized at the root of that money question was, I'm about to lose all my friends and community. I'm about to get off track and have to leave school, and I don't know what comes next. My mom and dad are hassling me all the time because they can't afford college. They can't afford this place. So that's the organic nature of this conversation started with me. And at the same time, I was getting my graduate degree. My wife was Dr. Delony before I was. And so we had 6 degrees between us. We both had bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and PhDs, and we just paid for them straight through. And I realized I could use my student loan money to pay rent. I used them as like a consolidation loan, and I put all my truck and my credit cards. I put everything in this big bucket. And I looked up all of a sudden, and we owed 6 figures. We owed $100,000 into the government, right, in student loans. And then my wife and I both got fancy jobs. So we had to get new cars. And so I bought 2 cars. I had an F-150 on payments, and I got my wife a RAV4 on payments. And by the way, we've never been cool car people. Those cars for us were like, whoa, because we don't care. And then, of course, we had to buy a new house. So we bought a house. And when I traced the timeline back, when I backed out 30,000 feet from what I would call when I just fell apart, I had a lot of anxiety, a lot. And I had some trauma I hadn't dealt with. I had some relationship issues I hadn't dealt with. I had some major issues where trust was broken in my life in some powerful ways that I was still wrestling with. But when I drilled down to the neurophysiology, what was my brain trying to tell me? Screaming at the top of its lungs, trying to get my attention. Sounding those anxiety alarms. My heart is racing. It's my body knew, hey, you owe $110 or $106, whatever, $110,000 in educational expenses that you can never discharge with bankruptcy. You are stuck. You will pay these off forever. $500 to $600 to $700 a month. Hey, you owe on these depreciating assets, you owe $10,000 on this one and $20,000 or $17,000 on this one. You can't even afford a house. Oh, you just bought a house. That's another $160,000. So we owed hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it never occurred to me until looking back in retrospect that my body knew. I worked at a university right as all these conversations about, hey, you can't say that, you're going to lose your job. All those things were starting. And my body knew, hey, Delony, you're kind of a loudmouth. And if you say the wrong thing, you're going to get fired. And if you get fired, your family loses their house. They lose their cars. Y'all won't be able to eat. You have a new son now. You have a kid. Everything changes. And so my body knew, my prefrontal cortex, if you will, my PFC, I'll simplify it. It knew, hey, I got a good deal on the APR on this. My interest rate on my house was pretty low. My interest rate on my student loans was pretty high, but it just globally it was pretty low. My interest rate on my cars wasn't bad. So my brain, my thinking brain knew I got some good deals on this stuff. But for simplicity's sake, my amygdala, the part of my brain that is sounding the alarms, that is always scanning the environment all of the time to let me know I'm not safe. right? You ever walk into a room and you just know, whoa, I need to get out of here. Or a guy walks into a room and you just know, your body knows that guy's not safe. That guy's not okay. Or you grew up in an abusive household and then another guy comes swaggering into some party you're in and your body's like, pew, get out now. Like, that was ringing off the hook for me all the time. And when your alarms are going off and you don't know what they're from, like why they're going off, it comes out as anger. It comes out as blame. Well, if you would just pick everything up, well, if you would just do this, if those people, whoever those people happen to be, if they would just fill in the blank. I don't care what you're going to say. If that political party would, all of those feelings are your body trying to get your attention. And because we have the media industrial complex that we have now, always just spoon feeding us stories as to why our bodies feel that way over and over. It's because of this. It's because of this. It's because of this. I was talking to one of my close buddies, Dr. Lane Norton, the other day. The number of insane things people reach out to him for weight loss ideas and how to get in shape, how to lose body fat. It will boggle your mind. People will do anything to not just eat less than they need and or eat exactly what they need, control their calories and exercise. People, they'll go to the ends of the earth. Similarly, we will blame, we will point fingers, we will create new things, we will get really, really busy, we will drink, we will just Netflix ourselves to death, we will like hide behind academic journals, which is what I did for years and years and years. We will do anything, and our body is screaming at us and screaming at us and screaming at us. And so one of the keys here, and I don't want this to sound like a long book pitch, this is me just trying to teach a little bit. One of the keys that I write about in building a non-anxious life, one of the choices we have to make on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on an annual basis, on a life basis, is this idea of choosing freedom. And I need you to hear me say, if you don't owe anybody any money, your body goes, whew. You can get fired and they're not going to take away your house. You can get fired and they're not going to take away your cars. You work for yourself and business can slow to a crawl, and it's annoying. It's not catastrophic. And you've heard me say over and over the title of the great Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, but the body keeps the score. And no matter how good you think, I'm not going to pay off my mortgage because it's at a 3% rate and I can invest the rest over here. Cool. Go do those mathematical gymnastics. Do a bunch of cartwheels with your calculators and make yourself feel good. Your brain knows we owe $300,000 on this mortgage and we're not safe. There's a reason why all throughout human history, tribes and family lineages, when they got property, it was passed down for generations. I'll never forget a conversation I had with a sociologist from Romania. We were sitting by each other in a climate science meeting, and we were talking about soil and stuff like that in the United States, and she leaned over to me and she said, I will never understand the U.S.'s relationship to its soil. And I thought she was talking about, the poison we spray on our foods and all that. She wasn't. She said in her home country, you had to prove lineage to buy land. It was that precious. You can't just sell it to anybody you want to from any other country. You can't just give that away. That's so precious. That's what keeps us safe because it's ours. Our bodies are able to go, whew, when all else fails, I can go home. And when you owe money to somebody, your body knows. And if we want to take the choose freedom argument one step further, how many of you, your in-laws, are still telling you what you're going to do for the holidays? How many of you still have friends that are like, oh my gosh, are you seriously going to wear that? We're going out on Wednesday and you don't want to go. You're tired. You miss your husband. You miss your wife. You want to see your kids, actually. But you go anyway because you outsource that. How many of you work at a toxic workplace? I know millions of you do because I hear from you. My friend Ken Coleman hears from you. All over the country. Every Monday, your heart rate, your BPM just goes up 10 beats because it's like, oh, here we go, man. I got to go into this awful place. When you outsource your joy, when you outsource your life, when you outsource how you feel, when you outsource your thoughts, your body keeps the score. Or how many of you, your lives are dictated by what the soccer coach says your practice schedule is going to be? How many of you your lives are dictated by what your pastor says your church schedule and your evening schedule and your weekend schedule, all like they run your calendar for you? How many of you are so up to your eyeballs in school activities and karate and horseback riding that your calendar is so chaotic, you're not free? And so one of these core chapters in this book, one of these choices we have to make is I got to choose freedom. I have to look at places in my life where I am hooked, and I have to consciously do the work to unhook myself. That might mean I got to spend 5 years working 3 jobs so that I owe nobody anything. That might mean I'm going to owe nobody anything so that I can quit this job that is killing me and go do something else. I'm going to sit down with my wife and we're going to clear our calendar. We're going to start to finish. Or I'm single. I'm going to get with 3 or 4 of my friends, 1 or 2 of my friends. We're going to go through our calendar, start to finish. What do I have to do? What do I want to do? And then we're going to backfill the rest. And that may mean looking at your kids and saying, hey, this year, we're stopping the madness. We're just going to do one thing. You can play soccer. You can do violin. You can do piano. We're going to do one thing. Or you can do one instrument and you can do one activity. That's it. But we're going to save the money. We're going to save our life. Hear me say this. A cornerstone of building a non-anxious life is choosing freedom. And I don't mean that in the political sense. I don't mean that in the, dramatic sense. I mean literally. And I was in Costa Rica recently. And I'll leave you with this. My son and I were walking down this sidewalk in this really busy street, and people were bustling and going and bustling, and there's a lot of motorcycles driving by. And he said, "Dad, this just feels different here." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right, man." And I thought it was because we were on a trip and all that. And then I said, "You know what, Hank? Everyone we've talked to is so insanely proud to live here. They're so insanely proud of their community." And where we were staying was at the base of a giant volcano that's active. It's erupted within the last however many years. And I would ask folks, just from the folks who were, carrying bags to the folks who were like the leaders and the restaurateurs, like, what happens if that thing goes off? And they were like, well, this is over. It was just this, and I was like, yeah, but they had completely unhooked from this obsession with we have to control everything all the time. But it was just, hey, right now we live in beauty. We don't owe anybody anything. Our cultural ethos is kindness and hospitality. Everybody's welcome. We're not going to fight you. We are just going to be at peace. And if you need some fruit off my tree, you can come grab it. Every community, every little neighborhood, every community, every little town had 4 things: had a church, a bar, a school, and a soccer field. And I thought, man, that may be the key to life. But I tell you all that to say, I met with people who had very, very, very little, who sat at the base of a big volcano that can go off at any time. And they were completely free. They had chosen freedom. They had chosen to let go of the wheel. They didn't owe anybody anything. They weren't beholden to. And so if you want to live a non-anxious life, I want you to look around your life. I want you to look around your relationships. Where are you not free? Write those things down. Be specific. I owe a whole bunch of money. I live in an unsafe neighborhood. I'm in an unsafe, scary marriage, and I'm not free to say what I think, to let my needs be heard. I'm not free to walk about my house Where are you not free? And if you've got a group of friends or a partner who will sit with you and kind of unpack those, awesome. If you don't, find a minister, find a counselor, find somebody in your life you can sit down and talk to. Call my friends at BetterHelp. Reach out to somebody and say, I'm not safe. I'm not free. So that's today's Facts of Your Friends. That's one of 6 of the choices you can make. Pick up Building a Non-Anxious Life. Go to johndelony.com, pick it up. But even if you don't buy the book, that's fine. I want this for you. I can't want it more than you do, but I really want it for you. I want you to choose freedom. Choose peace.